Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mormonish. I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Landon.
And we have a guest on today that we have been really looking forward to for quite a while. And we have Rob, aka Cultural Hall, on with us. How are you, Rob?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We are great. We are already laughing really hard because of some of the content that we're going to share as we get into this video, because I'm sure everybody knows who you are. If you don't, you will by the end of this episode, because you're going to see some hilarious content you're going to be rolling on the floor. So why don't we start, Landon, as always, reading the bio.
Okay, not only are his videos funny, but his bio is too. I love this when he sent it to me. So Rob is a Florida dude in his 40s, living his best life in the Sunshine State. He was raised in Arizona, is a proud 5-time EFY attendee, especially for youth, served a mission to the Philippines, and can proudly say he's never lived in Utah, unless you count the MTC. He's married with children, proving wrong all those dorks on Twitter that claim he's an incel living in his mom's basement. Rob is known for the dopey satirical content he makes about the LDS Church on TikTok. Parody songs are his jam, but he also enjoys spoofing the Bednar Day in the Life videos that the church puts out. Perhaps someday he'll move on from making ex-Mormon content, but today is not that day.
Thank goodness today is not that day. And we were just talking before we started recording, and it seems that almost everything I see out there that makes me laugh, I don't always realize that it's Cultural Hall's content. And then I'll look closely and I'll go, of course, it's Cultural Hall. It's him. You just have your finger on the pulse of the sense of humor, of the post and nuanced Mormon world. And it's just wonderful. It's great. So let's start out, before we go to some of the videos, just how in the world did you end up here doing this? Honestly, it's just so wonderful.
It's a good question. I've kind of been in the ex-Mormon space for probably the last 3 years. Started over on Twitter just as kind of an anonymous account, looking for some community and sharing my thoughts and stuff. And eventually, I started with making up like parodies to hymns. So just writing the hymns over, new lyrics, and then posting the sheet music just on. So it was just a picture. It wasn't actually making the music. And then from there, I went into like, well, maybe I can take some hymns, actually do the music. Like I'll record guitar instead of piano. I don't play. So I did that, and people kind of liked it. And then someone requested me to do a parody about Joseph Smith. There was a Jack song called Victoria's Secret. And she was like, for my birthday, I would love for someone to do this and just make the lyrics about Joseph Smith. So I was like, I'll give that a shot. So I did, and she liked that. And I was like, okay, I'll do some more. And so I was just kind of dabbling at it, putting some out there. And then I did one that we're going to watch later called City of Nauvoo. That's a yellow card parody of Ocean Avenue. And that one got about 70,000 views on TikTok and really blew up. And everyone's like, I like this, more of this. So I kind of found my niche there and have just been running with it since.
We actually have that one.
Let's show it then right away for sure. Let's do it.
There's a place called City of Nauvoo where I cheated on Emma with you. You were just 14 and it felt so right, sleeping with girls that were not my wife. That were not my wife. There's a place on the corner, it's where I go when I want to plow Eliza Snow. She may not be a teenager, that's alright, sleeping with girls that are not my wife. That are not my wife. If they could find me now, they'd tar and feather. I should leave this town and run forever. Please, Jesus, come down for me and take me away, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So tell me about your musical ability. So you don't play the piano, but you play the guitar. Is that right? And
I
you're
do,
doing all
yeah.
this. Talk about your process.
Sure. I come from a pretty musical family. My mom was always the piano player, the organist in the ward. My oldest sister plays, and she was like chorister. She's about 8 years older than me, so she'd be chorister in the ward. My mom was organist. We all sang in choir in high school, so our family was known for being kind of musical. I didn't want to play piano like all my sisters, but I wanted to do something. I wanted chicks in high school, so I thought learning guitar would be
You
cool.
knew.
And
You
my
knew how to
dad,
get
my
it.
dad plays, so he taught me some of the basics, bought me an electric, and I basically just taught myself how to play. Played in bands in high school, played in bands in college. So music and playing live and recording stuff has always been something I've really enjoyed doing.
How do you
That's
get all
awesome.
that mix in behind you?
Yeah.
There's more than just a guitar there.
So my process, it's really basic. When I was getting into this, I thought, okay, I'm gonna have to play all the music. I'm gonna have to do drums. I'm gonna have to do guitar. I'm gonna have to do bass, and it was gonna take forever to just make anything. Then I realized I can just go to YouTube. I can type in the name of the song and then instrumental. It brings up a video. I just screen record that. I pull the audio from it. I throw it into GarageBand, and I record vocals over it. And I can do that and finish a song in like 25, 30 minutes if I'm going really fast.
So are all of these voices yours on this?
Yeah, so it's all the singing is me recorded, just like multiple tracks if there's harmonies and stuff, or I'm doubling the vocals. But so all the vocals are me, but that's everything else is like the original track, which is why I have to keep the songs under a minute, because if I go over, TikTok flags them for copyright.
Copyright.
And it'll mute the video, so then you can't even hear it. So that's why, if you wondered why they're all about a minute long, that's why.
it. That's perfect though. A bite-sized piece, hilarity. And isn't it funny, Landon? He makes it sound so easy. I just take it, I throw it in GarageBand. For like
well, it's
easy
a
for
process.
you.
I've gotten much faster at it. I think I've done about 80 songs now. So
Oh my
I've definitely sped up the process. I know what I'm doing now, and it's quick, but it was slow going
But
initially.
you even throw in some of those accents and stuff of the people that you're doing.
I try to imitate, the flavor of the song. So like there's one I did recently that was kind of goofing on Tim Ballard and some information that came out about a text he sent to someone. So it was a parody
later on.
Yeah, it was a parody of the 500 Miles song, but I called it 500 Fish, and they're from Scotland, so I tried to.
You had to do
imitate.
that. Do you want to pull that one up, Landon?
While you're talking, yeah.
No, and that actually was one of our very, very favorite ones that we've ever seen. And when you heard the song, you'll know why, and it's stuck in my head. I have to say that. So, but I love that about your process, that you have it honed down to the level where you can see something pop up on media in the morning, some information, you can put it out like that, which is what makes it so funny, because everybody's buzzing about something. And suddenly here's this amazing, humorous way to process it. And I think that's so fun that you can just create content, put it out there in real time for everybody. So that's what makes it
it's
really
cool, because people think it's hard, but like it's not that tough, but we'll let them keep thinking that.
It still takes a lot of talent, and you're incredibly talented. So
Thank you.
I mean, I'm just kind of picturing you like watching the Mormon news in the morning and going, oh, perfect. And then like scribbling on a napkin, going into your studio.
Usually it's, I'm on Twitter in the morning, sometimes watching TikTok, and I'll see someone retweets a news story and, throws in a comment about it. I think somebody for the 500 Fishes song, just someone I follow on Twitter had posted the screenshot of it.
Yeah.
And was just like, oh, this is gross. He's into fish. And I think I responded and said, do I have to do a 500 Fish parody? And I was like, okay. And once I throw something out like that, I go, well, might as well.
Yep. Do you
so I think I had it done and up by, later that evening.
Yep, that's great. So this is one that I'm telling you, this is stuck in my head. I sing this at the grocery store. So let's play it.
Now, if you have kids in the car, you may want to turn down the sound.
I tried to beep it out, but yes, there is a short. I'm reading
profanity.
This. Yeah.
This
so earmuffs.
Great. This is my all-time favorite.
Text message to one of his sexual abuse victims. Tim Ballard wrote, "I would fuck a goat or a pig or even a goldfish."
When I'm working, yes, I'm gonna be the man who works the couple's rules. And when donations come in for the work I do, I'll keep almost every penny, so fuck you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be I'm gonna be the one with horror-cross tattoos. And when it's strip club, well, you know I'm gonna be the one who looks at ass and boobs. And I would fuck 500 fish, and I would fuck 500 more, just to be the man who'd fuck 5,000 fish to stop child export. Tequila, 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 dun 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 dun, Julio Patron. Tequila, 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 dun 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 dun, Julio Patron.
There it is.
great.
There you have
And
it.
even
No,
even the
that is-
tequila thing at the end is a nod to Tim loving tequila
Yeah.
at the strip club. So
Yep, that's the thing. These are very complex. I mean, people who don't understand that comedy is complex, they don't get it. They really
Right.
are. You have all those elements there, and that's why it's so humorous. So,
There-
have you ever, I mean, I'm trying to think, somebody that's as funny as you are, you must have other outlets for comedy in your life. Have you been in theater or done stand-up comedy, or is there any other thing like that that you've done?
I've never done stand-up comedy. In high school, like we did musicals with the theater kids, so I've had, some experience on the stage, but it's been ages since. So I don't know. I think I honestly, when I got into the Exmo space, I started to learn like a lot about myself that I didn't know. I'd put things out and get a good response to it, and so it was kind of like, am I funny? Maybe. So I don't know. People just seem to enjoy it. So I don't know that I would call myself funny, but I find the stuff I put out funny. And if other people do, I think that's cool too.
Oh, it's definitely funny. The next one is the day in the life of the Bednar series. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh my
Sure.
gosh.
If y'all remember that, there's been 2 parts now. He recently released part 2, but there was part 1 was the original, and this dropped, and it was going around like wildfire. Like, can you believe Bednar did a day in the life? You get to see him at Church HQ, and I saw it a couple times. And as I'm not even listening to his audio because he's talking about his day, and who cares what he has to say. I'm in my head going like, there's dialogue. I'm like, okay, he's walking down the hall, and why are there no women? And so there's all these questions in my head, and I'm like, I should write this down, and I could just record some stuff to it and make it work. And I put it off for a little bit, and then I kept seeing it. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And I did it, and I put it out, and that was really people really like that. I know it's good when people start telling me they see it on Exmo Reddit and different sites. Once it crosses platforms, that's a cue that it's a pretty good one.
Yep, everybody picked it up. Let's roll this one, and I dare you not to laugh.
Good day, Bednar. I'm a really important person. I'm an apostle for the Corporation of the President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. People don't think I do anything, so the purpose of this video is to refute that and show that us apostles are just normal, wealthy white people like you. Here I am walking out of our private parking garage that no regular people can access. This is my office. It's larger than any normal person's office, and it's cluttered AF. As you can see, I have many doodads from my travels all around the world, as well as who's its and what's its galore. Now, I will spin in a circle. I'm a normal person. Now, I will walk through a door and pretend to pay attention to my secretary, who you're never gonna see on camera because she's a woman. Now I'm walking down a hallway just like normal people do. Oh look, it's the founder of our church that married at least 34 women, many of whom were just young girls. Praise to the man. Now it's time to pretend to be busy. Look at my one post-it note. General conference is coming up, and I am looking for other people's talks that I can quote from without giving credit. Stay tuned for that one. Hopefully the apostates don't catch me this time. Now I'm off to assign missionaries. Here I am not showing my secretary again. I get to decide where to send 200 gullible 18-year-olds away from their families for 2 years. That's my buddy right there. He's worked here for years, but I don't remember his name. What's cool is if I'm in a hurry, I can always just hit the randomize button and the computer assigns the missionaries for me. Now I have a meeting with these 2 Spencer Cox lookalikes. I don't enjoy shaking hands, but the director talked me into it for the video. They said it would make me look human. These 2 better not have booked me in coach. They handle all my travel. My last meeting of the day is with Jesus Christ. JK. It's just with a bunch of old white guys. Notice how you didn't see my secretary for the third time? Hey look, a bunch of white guys in suits. At this point in the day, I have checked out mentally. It's hard to focus. Okay, well, time to go home. I've got a random plastic bag of God knows what. Oranges, maybe? Notice how we didn't show my secretary for the fourth time? I did wave, though, because the director told me to. Off to the private parking garage, where my driver will take me home to see Susan, who better have dinner on the table. Thank you for watching what I do. I hope you now see me as a totally normal human and not a wealthy, insulated man baby.
I don't even know if we can go on. I'm laughing so hard. I never noticed that plastic bag. What is in that plastic bag?
I don't know. Sugar cookies? I don't know. I said oranges. It could be
Maybe
anything.
it was very large though to be carrying out of your office. So, and this is what I think is great about you. You observe things. You're so sorry, my dog. You're just so observant, which is what makes great comedy, is things like that. Because then you just start thinking, what is in that bag? So you talked about how things are crossing platforms. You're seeing it appear everywhere. And I am too. I'll see something on Reddit. I'm like, oh, but wait, I just saw it on Mormon Stories, or I just saw it here and there. So what does your family think of this? Like your immediate family or extended? I mean, do they even know you do this? Or
so my wife knows I make content and stuff, because I'll be like, I'm going to be out in the garage recording, because anywhere in the house, I'd wake people up at night. So I just have a little setup out in the garage where I do this. And I'll show her some, but she, again, my wife is an LDS and she's not super into the whole Exmo world. It's kind of my thing and she lets me do it. But my immediate family, I've got two siblings who are also out of the church, and I share my contact with my younger sister all the time. She loves it. My family, my older siblings are still in, my parents are still in. They know I'm out, but they're not clued into, the whole Exmo world in my account on TikTok and stuff. And that's honestly probably for the best, because it's not for them.
Yeah, that's because you were smart enough to use Cultural Hall rather than your real name. I was dumb enough to use my real name, and people tag me, and all of a sudden it shows up in my parents' stuff.
Yeah, that happens.
It does happen. Yeah, we have a problem with posting our Mormonish stuff on Instagram. Landon will post it, and then very nicely, Instagram sends it right over to Landon's Real World Facebook page, and we don't catch it. So it sits there, for a couple hours with his whole family going, "Oh dear, what's he doing?" But you're right. You can be very siloed in your content, because it is such a niche world, the post-Mormon nuanced Mormon world, that if you don't know to look for it or stumble across it, you have really no idea that it's there.
Yeah. My mom wouldn't stumble across my stuff.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't happen. She's never going to come across it.
You wouldn't find it. Yeah. But for those of us looking for it, or for those of us that it means something to and is actually very cathartic, we're very glad that we stumble across it, and we really do appreciate it. It's more than just comedy. And I think we'll talk about that in a minute here, but do we have the next one queued up, Landon?
Yeah, the next one is, it just takes some ties. And so do you come up with the theme that you want to talk about and then find a song, or do you have a song in mind and say, how can I use that as a parody?
That's a good question. It depends. Not every song I do is the same. Sometimes I just have a song that I like and I go, I want to do something to that song. And so I'll just listen to the lyrics and see if anything pops into my head. Does a certain churchy word kind of rhyme with something that's in that song? Other times I'll just be listening to music in the car, and a lyric will pop into my head and I go, okay, now I got to do that. And so this is a Jimmy Eat World song, and I'm from Arizona, and so are they. They're one of my favorite bands. I've been going to see them since the late 90s. I've probably seen them like 30 times live. So I was like, this is a great song just to begin with. And then I finally figured out like something that would work well for it. And it was talking about tithing.
There you go. Timely topic.
Some people say, I can't afford to pay tithe. Those who place their faith in the Lord's promises say, I can't afford not to pay my tithe.
Hey, don't pay your bills just yet. So go ahead and get your checkbook out. Make donations. You'll be blessed. Give everything you can. And don't you worry how you feed yourselves. You'll be okay. It just just take some ties. Every dollar that you make, you pay a dime. You could get more and that would be just fine. You could get more and that would be alright, alright. It just takes some ties. Every dollar that you make, you pay a dime. You could get more and that would be just fine. You could get more and that would be alright, alright.
Ah, that's so good. I mean, you laugh, you sing along, and then you're like, damn, that's so true.
What's funny is I posted that over on Twitter, where I'd say the majority of the people I interact with are in the Exmo post-Mormon space, but there are faithful LDS members that I follow and interact with. Jim Bennett is one that I have a good time with. There's some others. I was getting a lot of good feedback from members on this, that like it's almost appropriate enough that they could play it as a faith building thing and like a tithing lesson. So I've got a couple that kind of border on that, very still friendly to the LDS community, but you know, the one about fish and stuff like that, it's not really
probably not going to get played in Sunday school.
And I have salty language and I don't really censor myself, so you're going to catch F-bombs and the S word in a lot of my songs, and it's just is what it is.
Yeah, and again, that's really cathartic. I mean, I think that's what's great about this, because there are a lot of issues that we're working through. People have those different things that really impact them and affect them, and they're trying to process. And you know, you can watch like a 3-hour Mormon Stories episode on tithing, right? And go, oh, and then you can watch your video.
Yeah, a minute.
A few seconds, and you can laugh about it. You can still acknowledge that there's perhaps, you know, things that you're upset about that, but it's very cathartic, I find. Did you realize that it might be that way when you started making, I mean, comedy is smart, and comedy speaks to what you care about, what you're worried about, what you're thinking about. I mean, did you realize the impact it would have in addition to comedy?
You know, I don't know if I did or not. I think I just am kind of a creative person. I really like music, and it was just, I found it as an outlet for me, something that I enjoyed doing. And I think after the fact, I realized that it's like, oh yeah, this is kind of like therapeutic to do this and work some of this stuff out. Because on TikTok, I'm not loud about issues with the church. Most of my content is pretty much just the songs. I'm a little bit louder, a little more saltier on Twitter, as some people could attest. But yeah, as I go through these, you know, because I like to listen to my own stuff, so I listen to it again, and I'm like, yeah, those are pretty good lyrics. That is true. They do that. Yeah.
And this next one is very much that way, because you're saying the Mormon church is not true, which so many of us are so angry when we find that out and stuff. And yet here you can look at it and just laugh about it, as you, instead of being angry, you can just kind of shake your head and go, yeah, he's right. Let's play that one.
Okay.
The Mormon church is not true. 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 But they're gonna take your money, a whole lot of hard-earned money. They'll even take your lunch money. So screw you right, child. They're gonna take your time, precious time. They're gonna take your money and time. Ooh, to screw you, 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 to screw you right. The Mormon church is not true. The Mormon church is not true. The Mormon church is not true. The Mormon church is not true.
Yeah, again, you have to laugh, and then you just kind of go, I feel better. I feel better. I do.
You know, that one was kind of a throwaway. Like I was listening to a song, working on a parody for another one I was doing, and like Apple Music just kicked on that song after the one I was listening to got over, and I listened to it and I was like, this is a good song. I'd heard it before, and I was like, maybe I could do something like that, because the words just, the Mormon church is not true, popped into my head, and I was like, okay, well, I got to do that one too. But that one kind of sat on the shelf so to speak, for a while, and just I wasn't doing anything with it. And then I finally was like, I'll put something together. And I put it out, and that one ended up being really popular. It's hard for me to know like what's going to really resonate with people, because there's ones that I love and I'm like, people are going to like this, and you get 1,000 views and 100 likes, and it's kind of a bummer. And then there's other ones that, they kind of blow up a little bit, and you're like, wow, okay, cool. And that was one that did better than I thought it was going to do.
Yeah, I guess you just never know. So what we're playing here in this episode are some of Rob's favorites, and then of course our favorite, the goldfish. And so, but you said overall you've made, how many would you say? Did you say like 80?
I'm approaching 80. Yeah.
Wow.
I might have passed 80 by now, but I'm in the ballpark of 80 songs.
Try to put one out a week, or just when you feel like it, you get creative, several at a time, or how to? I
try to do like about 3 a week. If I'm feeling real creative and I've got some time, I might do 4. Just because I can get them out quick, but they do take time to record. And then TikTok's a very, video focused. So I could just, do like a picture and do the entire song, but I'd rather do a video that kind of tells the story of the song. And that takes time because I got to find the pictures, I got to put it together, I have to edit it. So it's a little bit of a process, but usually 3 or 4 a week I'll try to do. And if I've got them in batches, like if I have lyrics written for a couple, I'll try to record 1 or 2 in like the same garage session and knock them out. But yeah, they're usually 1 at a time. I kind of do it.
It's really impressive to see your voice different in every one. We were talking before and we're going, how's he get it to sound like that? We thought you were using some sort of software or something, and here it is.
No, not
changing your voice up.
Yeah, just switching my voice up a little, because I'm just trying to mimic, whoever's singing. If I ever do like a Pearl Jam one, I'll have to do that kind of grunge voice that Eddie Vedder does. Yeah.
Speaking of Pearl,
I did a like a Dierks Bentley country song, Boys Round Here. So I tried to put on the country drawl. Yeah. And, some songs I do better than others with that, but I try to imitate the style that the original song is sung in.
Well, you pick stuff out from all kinds of different places. And here's one where you're kind of, hitting the apologetic.
Can I tell you a little bit about this one before you play it?
Absolutely.
So a new thing I've gotten into recently is that if I see a video on a certain topic, I'll take video from a certain creator that I see, and I'll play that with a little bit of music kind of building up. And then when they stop, it goes into the topic they're talking about. So this particular creator is from Scripture Plus, or Book of Mormon Central, I forget which one. Very, very faith promoting. She's done videos about how sheep in the Book of Mormon could have actually been turkeys. This is one about Book of Mormon horses, and so I was listening to this and I was like, I gotta do something with this. And we all know that Book of Mormon horses are famously tapers, and I'm like, what's a song that has a word that sounds like taper? And I'm sitting there just thinking on it, and then I'm like, reaper, fear the reaper. I go, okay, fear the taper, and there we go. And I wrote the lyrics, and I wrote the song that day, recorded it, and this is one of those that I put out quick after I had seen this video.
Great song. This is
For a long time, critics of the Book of Mormon have pointed out that a major flaw is how the Book of Mormon mentions horses, even though horses were extinct in Book of Mormon times and didn't get reintroduced into the Americas until Columbus.
Well, apologies are dumb. Evidence there's none. 'Cause Mormons don't fear the taper. They know that horses came here from Spain. It's really not that hard. Come on, dummy. Don't fear the taper. They won't understand. Don't fear the taper. Who cares if it's a lie? Don't fear the taper. Joseph was a horse fan. La, 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 la. La, 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 la.
I got to tell you, I think that was missing something.
More
what
cowbell.
could it have been missing?
Need
Yeah.
more taper bell.
More
taper.
taper bell. You should, the comments were all needs more cowbell, more
Needs
cowbell,
more
more
cowbell.
cowbell.
Oh
Yeah.
no, you picked just the quintessential, most hilarious, I don't know, like live skit ever. So, but I
That
think
one's great, and I was like, I gotta include the video
Yeah.
of that. Will
Yeah.
Ferrell doing the cowbell?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, kind of like what Landon was saying before. I feel like you are very eclectic in your musical taste, and that allows you to just say this will work or that'll work. I mean, what's your background as far as just music appreciation? You seem to know, not one genre. You seem to were you ever a DJ?
I was not a DJ, but my older brother was a DJ in his high school years. So
okay.
my older siblings are like 8, 6, 5 years older than me.
Right.
So I got exposed to a lot of stuff growing up. So they were big into like 80s and early 90s grunge. So my brother was into Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Soundgarden and all that. When I got to be about 14, that was when, like 94, when Green Day and Weezer and the Offspring. So I got into like alternative rock was my jam in high school, Third Eye Blind. Then I got back from my mission in 2001, and emo and kind of screamo and punk were real big. So I really liked those. So that was kind of my jam musically growing up, but I appreciated other stuff too. I've got a bunch of hick cousins that lived in Genola, Utah, that we would visit in the summer. And, we'd be listening to Garth Brooks in the pickup truck. And so I got exposed to country music, Billy Ray Cyrus. So I was exposed to a lot of different genres. So that's why I guess I feel comfortable kind of picking whatever and making it work.
Yeah. No, and it appeals to so many. That's the thing. That's what makes it fun. If it were all one genre, it wouldn't necessarily cross over like it does, but there's something for everybody, and everybody's going to find their favorite song or their favorite genre eventually in your work, which is what makes it so fun. So, this is a good one. I like this.
You got the Ramones in this.
You got the Ramones. That was
this
one
one,
of my
if people don't know, so this is Julia from Analyzing Mormonism, and she's awesome. She really is. She's super smart and does really good TikToks, and she's got a huge following, and deservedly so, because she's very talented. But she did this story, about a guy who was castrated by his bishop in Utah because the bishop wanted his fiance. Yeah. And so I was watching that, and I was like, oh man, he was castrated. And then I'm like, sedated, castrate. I go, okay, so write the lyrics, do the song. And I was like, let me give Julia some credit with the lead in. And this one, it doesn't get tons of love on TikTok, but for me, this is one that I really like. It was fun to make, and I think it's a fun song.
Yeah, this is fun. Yeah,
as fun as you can get about castration.
Story that one time a bishop from Manti, Utah, castrated a young man so that he could marry his fiance. Buckle up.
A petty bishop with the last name of Stowe wants me to be castrated. He's trying to take my girl for his own. Wants me to be castrated. So he made a proposal. She told his ass no. He got really angry, it's driving him loco. He doesn't want my penis, he wants my testicles. Oh no, oh, 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 oh. Bam, bam, ba, bam, ba, bam, bam, ba, bam. He wants me castrated. Bam, bam, ba, bam, ba, bam, bam, ba, bam. He wants me castrated. Bam, bam, ba, bam, ba, bam, bam, ba, bam. He wants me castrated. Bam, bam, ba, bam, ba, bam, bam, ba, bam. He wants me castrated.
The visuals in that one. I mean, like you said, you could just put up a picture in the song, but you're, really fast-paced visuals. They really tell the story. Yeah. And in something like this, I feel like someone's going to go, well, what is that story? And they might kind of dive in, it is a very horrific episode of church history, but it's completely true. I mean, that's the thing. It really did happen. So,
and it's, it's very niche in history. It's such like a small event, but I kind of like picking stuff like that out. And I know it's not going to get a ton of likes like some other stuff that's more universal, like tithing and Joseph Smith's polygamy, but it's fun to do. And it's cool because maybe that's the first time someone's ever heard of it.
Yeah. Yep. And it speaks to a bigger problem, early Mormon violence. And in fact, Landon and I do a show with the Backyard Professor about the Gospel Topics essays, and we use a book where people critique the essays. And just last week, we did the one on violence, and the whole essay in the book was about that incident. So
Was it really?
it is a very important incident, you know, and it's interesting to see it portrayed in a parody song, isn't it, Landon?
Yeah.
And for those who are just listeners on the podcast, they
Yeah.
don't get to see the video that's going with this, but you need to get on TikTok, and we'll put a link to his TikTok channel so that you can go in and look at these, because the video is half the fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I can always tell when someone has just discovered my YouTube channel and are enjoying it, because, you know, I go in and it's like this video, they like that video. You know, it's this whole list. I go, okay,
They're like,
they must
how
be
did I
new,
miss
and they
this?
like it. Yeah.
So how long have you been doing it?
I think I've been on TikTok for, it's less than a year. I had an account that was The Cultural Hall that I was kind of putting some stuff out, not really music wise. But then I got talking with Richie, who's from the Cultural Hall podcast. Really nice guy. And he kind of asked, like, hey, any chance we could get that account on TikTok?
Oh.
And so I thought about it, and I was like, you know, I'm not super attached to it. They could have it. So I let them have it. He was real nice, and he sent me some money and said, buy something for your kid. He didn't have to do that, and it was really nice of him. So I made sure to get Cultural Hall. I saw that was available, so I scooped that up, and I essentially just kind of started over after that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
and
because
have
we
kind of
wondered
built
about
things back up.
Yeah, because we wondered about that. There is the Cultural Hall, and
Yeah.
that is different. Is that more of a
Yes.
faithful account?
Yeah.
Or
Uh-huh.
that's what I thought.
They're
Okay.
a little bit more on the progressive,
Right,
accepting
right.
side. There are things like sit on the back bench with us by the Cultural Hall, and
Yeah.
everyone's they get a lot of hate from the more orthodox
Okay.
members over on Twitter, but it's a good podcast, really nice people.
Okay.
I'll chat with them sometimes. I don't know exactly what they think of me, but you know, they haven't said anything bad. So
Well, and you gave them your handle. I mean, that's very
I
nice.
did.
The difference is, so for all of our viewers and listeners, Cultural Hall without the is what we're talking about today. So if you end up in the wrong spot, don't stay too long and go over and find the Cultural Hall. So did your kind of post-Mormon journey start at the same time that you jumped on Twitter and then started making these? Or were you kind of deconstructing for a while and then arrived at this? Or was it all kind of boom, boom, boom? Or,
You know,
bam,
my story's
bam,
a little,
as we just saw?
my story, bam, 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 bam.
Bam,
My
bam,
story's
bam.
a little bit different. When I was like mid-20s, so I grew up in Arizona. I went to college at Arizona State. And then I left the whole Mesa Gilbert bubble for graduate school in Alabama at Auburn University. So that was my first time kind of getting out of this bubble. I was in a program with zero Mormons. So it was really my first time interacting with a lot of non-LDS people. And it opened my eyes in a lot of ways, because these people that, you know, I hadn't really interacted with the evangelicals and atheists, and, you know, and I just made friends with these people, and they were great. You know, and I spent 2 years there in Alabama, and it just kind of opened my eyes to the world outside of the Arizona, Utah Mormon bubble. So I essentially kind of drifted, went inactive. I would have considered myself still a believer. I met my wife there. You know, she's not LDS. We got married. So my life just started to kind of drift away from the church. But in my heart, I was still in. If anyone asked if I was LDS or Mormon or what religion I was, I'd happily tell them, yeah, I'm LDS. I'm just not really practicing right now. And that's kind of where I was up until about 2020. That was a crazy year. My politics changed. I kind of deconstructed that. COVID was crazy. And I think once my politics wall or things started to change, that's when I started to go, maybe I could look at this stuff. And that's when I finally at least started looking into, you know, anti-podcasts and church history and stuff. And once I did that, it was like, whoa. And so that, I would say end of 2020 is probably where I said, like, okay, I'm not inactive, still believing anymore. I don't think I'm believing at all. And it just kind of went from there. And so Twitter, getting on there, was my space to be able to find community and kind of start getting some of my thoughts and feelings out. And it eventually morphed into what it is today.
Well, you're definitely watching the right podcast, because the next video is from Mormonish Podcast with Dr. Wall. And I really love the song from this one. I don't know if you got a story behind this one, but you kind of did that up there. So You want me to just play it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sure.
Unless
Yeah.
Rob has something to say.
No, let's play it and then we'll chat about it.
Okay.
They made the internet go live in 83. Goddamn you, Al Gore, now our members might break free. They're gullible and we need that continuing. I was a happy Mormon back in 92, buying all the bullshit, doing what they said to. And now I understand I didn't have a clue. I went to Google. What did it tell you? Internet killed the Mormon truth claims. Internet killed the Mormon truth claims. And in my mind, they've gone too far. They hid the truth to hide their scars. Woo!
Oh, that's perfect. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. And I love the Buggles. They were one of my favorites.
Yeah. That actually, so for me, I know that's the Buggles, but my first exposure to that song was from a cover of that by a band called the Presidents of the United States of America, who were a band in the mid-90s. They did a song called Lump and Peaches, so a lot of people know them. I actually did another parody of theirs, their Peaches song that was about MLM schemes in Utah, which is pretty fun. People like that one. But I had the idea for this song for a long time and had lyrics started and just never got around to it. And then my family, we were going to head out to Disney one day, and I had the morning to myself before we left. And I was like, I gotta have something to work on while we're there, so I can put something out this weekend. So I said, I looked through my list of stuff. I go, I'll finally record that one. Didn't really think much of it, put it together, sent it out right before we headed to the park, checked my phone later, and it had like blown up. People really liked that one, and I was not expecting it.
Yeah. Like you said, you can't really predict, some that you love, like, this is my baby. It's like, but then others you're like, why is this so? You just don't know what's going to resonate with people, which is great because anything can at any time. It's really exciting in that way. Yeah.
But this one makes sense because the internet really was a game changer for a lot of people when it came to learning, deeper history and just things they didn't know about the church.
Yeah, that's true. And again, you can watch a whole podcast about that phenomenon, or you can watch, 30 seconds, which explains it extremely clearly. This is what happened. I think all of us on some level are trying to figure out what happened to us, and these really help you do it, especially if you watch multiple ones. It helps you deconstruct that and realize what happened and where am I now? So with others, that's the other thing. It's community. You're watching this, you look at the likes, thousands of other people are appreciating and understanding it. You're not alone. You're not crazy. Other people get this and have seen this too.
Right.
So again, it's more than comedy. It really is.
Yeah. So we got one of my favorite bands here.
Here we go. Here we go.
Recent topic here.
Yeah, this is one of those I tried to do. I saw the story come out and I was like, what could I do about this? And the topic itself kind of dictated the song I would use and what it was going to be about.
This is great.
Women Relief Society leaders, Salt Lake Trib posted this, have been sitting on the stand facing the pews during Latter-day Saint services in San Francisco Bay Area, very liberal area, for a decade or more. Last month, the practice was abruptly discontinued because the church put a stop to it because you can't have the women sitting on the stand with the men.
Stand, make Salt Lake defensive, girls back down. Take a man's directive, wonder why you haven't now. Stand, sitting is a malperdicts are best. After bearing testimony, back to your pew down on the floor. Why are you confused? The thinking is done. Stay on your benches, it's where you belong. The girls are going to stay on the ground. The men are there to shoot complaints down. So stand, make Salt Lake defensive. Girls back down. Take a man's directive, wonder why you haven't now. Stand, sitting is a malperdicts are best. After bearing testimony, back to your pew down on the floor.
The
Hey, I
Mormon
love it
women thing
because
with the sad face at the end is so
no, but
fitting.
again, we all read that. We were like infuriated. We don't have anywhere to put it. And then we see this, and it's hilarious, and it's timely, and it's edgy, and it expresses how we're all feeling, but in a way that's more of a positive way to let off the steam. So it's really important, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, this was one where you could just tackle the misogyny, you know, that's very blatant, that men are more important in the church. It's just the way it is, you know. And it's really sad that a lot of the women in the church are unable. They're almost more gung-ho about, don't give us the priesthood, we shouldn't be on the stand.
I don't want it.
Which is crazy, even more so than some of the men. So this one was an interesting one to make. And just writing the lyrics, you really have to think about like what's going to fit, what's appropriate, what rhymes. That's kind of the most important thing. What can I get that rhymes with this?
Yep, that's how you make a parody song, right?
Yep.
So who are your comic influences? Who do you watch? I mean, in the post-Mormon world or anywhere else, is there anybody that, I mean, you're a funny guy, you make funny videos, you obviously probably watch other people that, you know, produce comedy. Who are your influences?
I do. There's a lot of good ones on TikTok that I watch. Some are a mix of like funny and serious. There's a guy that goes by BJ the Lamanite on TikTok that I think he's really funny and does a really good job with his TikToks. Ryan Josiah is another account that I follow and am friendly with. He's awesome and does some good stuff. Shane Deconstructs is really good. He puts out a lot of funny content, but he also mixes it with a lot of very serious stuff too. So it's a nice mix of things. There's another parody account that does, you know, kind of similar stuff to what I do, called Ex-Mormon Songbook, that I'm good buddies with. He kind of focuses a little bit more on like the children's songbook and parodying those. So those are some of the ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's great. There's so many content creators and people popping up every day, and it's wonderful. There's something for everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. Oh my gosh, I love this one.
Chumbawamba.
Chumbawamba.
Will they sleep in when they're speaking? Will they sleep in? I'm getting down. I want to feel again. Guy next to me is snoring loud. I'm getting down. I want to feel again. Guy next to me is snoring loud. I'm getting down. I want to feel again. Guy next to me is snoring loud. I'm getting down. I want to feel again. Guy next to me is snoring loud. Sleep in the sanctuary. Sleep in the sanctuary. He takes a tithing oath. He takes a vengeance oath. He takes a blood oath, a consecration oath. He gives the signs, the officiate to pantomimes. He gives the signs to get through the veil in record time. Oh, rusty boy, rusty boy, rusty boy. I'm getting down. I want to feel again. Guy next to me is snoring loud. I'm getting down. I want to feel again. Guy next to me is snoring loud. I'm getting down. I want to feel again. Guy next to me is snoring loud. I'm getting down. I want to feel again. Guy next to me is snoring loud.
I love that one. I love that one so much because I've talked about it before. I have horrible PTSD from the temple. I've had a horrific, you know, just stress over that. And I watched something like that, and it just replaces, at least for a while, that stressful feeling, because I can hum to myself, I get endowed.
Yeah.
You know, it does. I'm telling you, it's so good for you to be able to watch these and just work things out with humor.
The whole falling asleep thing is like so relatable to so many people because one, I mean, they make it so dark in there when the movie comes on, and the movie is so boring that they would let us on our mission. We were allowed to go once a month to the Manila temple, but we would have to get up at the crack of dawn, and we'd be there for like the first session. So you'd be so tired. So you couldn't help it. You'd fall asleep. Next thing you know, your companion's nudging you to get up to put your robes on and stuff. So it's very relatable. And this one was fun because I had the idea for it, like the name of it. The name of the thing is tub thumping. You know, I get knocked down is what they say. And I had in my head, I get endowed. So on Twitter, I wrote I wrote a tweet that was like Chumbawamba's tub thumping, but it's instead of I get knocked down, it's I get endowed. And people like that. And then people started throwing lyrics in. So I actually, that's not me 100% on the lyrics. I pulled lyrics that people put in the comments. I was like, that's good. I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a collaborative thing with my friends on Twitter.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I take a tithing oath. I take a vengeance oath.
I take a blood oath. I take a vengeance oath.
You just described my entire temple attendance in that song.
Yeah.
Did you ever fall asleep, Landon, in the temple? Did you ever fall asleep?
Oh, that's all I
didn't go enough to fall asleep. I went 5 times total in my whole life. So
is that
much
it?
stress.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, when I was first married, I went, the endowment went a couple of times and I was like, okay, I know enough self-care. I cannot go back here. And I just kind of avoided it the whole rest of the,
I hear that a lot, that people don't have a great first experience and they're like, I don't want to go back.
Oh yeah. No, I had nightmares, like actual nightmares about it. It was just such an otherworldly environment and it was so stressful. And I had some other strange experiences in there on top of just the normal one, weird temple matrons doing things. And I don't often stand up for myself, but in that case I said, nope, I'm out, I'm out.
That's smart because a lot of people wouldn't. You'd be like, they keep telling me to go, so I should keep going.
That was me because the first time I went through, I went through before they took out all the.
You were pre 1990.
Yeah. So I was like,
I missed that.
What in the hell was that? As I came out, but then you're going. Everyone keeps saying how wonderful this is. What am I missing?
I still caught the naked under the shield thing, but I was too late. I didn't get the blood oaths.
Yeah.
But so my dad, when I went through, my dad told me that I think he gave me a heads up that it's a little, there are some things that are a little, but don't worry, it's all good. So I don't know. Back then I was very much just like, do what I'm told.
And the hats just freaked me out.
Oh my god! Yeah,
I'm like,
I think I remember
like a beret or something, so it looks a little more cool.
I think when I first got into the temple, before you go and get ready for your washings and anointings, all that, I saw people in full garb walk by and was just kind of like, little did I know, you're gonna be dressed up like that too. The temple's a trip.
Asleep, so Landon, it happened to you when you fall asleep. Are you like this? Are you like on the shoulder next to the person? Does somebody nudge you? Did the temple workers come over and thump you? I mean, what happens when you fall asleep?
I think it depends on whether you're there with a brother or something. Then it's a little more and you have the faith that he's going to nudge you and get you up before it's time. If it's a complete stranger, it's more one of these, head bobs, but you come back and things.
Yeah.
No, I was reading an article yesterday for some reason about accidents and medical incidents that happen in the temple. My own mom once dehydrated as a temple worker, fell forward and broke her jaw on a chair, things like that happen. So they did mention that somebody had I think this was a Reddit post. Somebody said, someone passed away in the temple. It does happen. And this person passed away and was not noticed for a while because it just seemed like they were asleep. Right. And so, yeah. I mean,
blended in with the crowd.
Wow. Everyone was sleeping. No one knew.
Yeah, no, you're going to have these incidences if you go and you have a more of an elderly population that goes more often. It's just going to happen. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the temple causing it. I'm just saying it does happen. But I thought about that someone could actually pass away and not be spotted for a while because everybody is asleep. I don't know. So,
they're just meditating. They're praying.
They're just praying. That's right.
Yeah, this is our last one here.
Oh, is it? Okay, dang it. We could go on all night.
I know. These have been fun. Yeah.
It's been awesome. There's 80 more
I'll keep
to go,
making
Landon.
them. You can have me on again if you want.
That's right. Part 2, because, every week you're putting out how many new ones? So,
At least 3.
Yeah, at least 3.
Well, let's play this one.
Awesome.
This is the story of a guy, a pious fraud who made up a big lie. And though he looked unwell in prison cells, he made up a religion, then he died. How many wives did he steal? How many angels and swords did he fear? Daughter-mom pairs were ideal. He wed such a pair too, what's the big deal? As long as he kept on taking multiple wives, then he was all good. Loved one husbands disappeared. That meant there was fresh meat in his neighborhood. When your first wife is a pain in your ass and your fake God says you get a hall pass, you get aroused feels when you see a teenage lass. This is the story of a guy, up by his bride who made up a big lie. And though he looked unwell in prison cell, he made up a religion, then he died.
There it is. That kind of encapsulates the whole thing, doesn't it?
There you go. Joseph Smith in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, that's it. And you were telling us before, I think before we turned the camera on, that you definitely follow the current events of, you know, the kind of the post-Mormon world. For example, like Tim Ballard and OUR, you've done several because it's kind of just sitting there waiting to be like the goldfish one that we saw. But you've done, what are some of the other ones you've done about that story?
You know, the first one I did when his story first kind of broke, it was that whole, he was, you know, his psychic was talking to Nephi. And I thought that was so funny. I was like, I got to do something like that. So there's this song by a band called Blur where they go, woohoo.
Yeah,
and so I did that and, you know, just wrote Tim Ballard lyrics and I liked that. I thought it was really good. And I got it out real quick too. So I was thinking like, this is gonna be good. People are gonna like this. I don't know, like 700 people watched it, but I liked it. And that's what matters.
We have that same thing. Some of our episodes, I go, this is the best one we've ever done.
Yeah.
And it might get 1,200 views. And I go, I don't care. It's the best one we've ever done. This was moving, or this was, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that.
And then after he got excommunicated, I did a song that's there's a band called Rancid who had a song called Time Bomb. So I made it excommed. So it was all about Tim Ballard getting excommunicated from the church. That one did a little bit better than the other one, but I don't know. My Tim Ballard material doesn't get a ton of views. I don't know.
That's one that's sometimes hard to laugh at. It's funny, but it's hard to laugh at because
the subject matters, and it keeps getting worse. Everything that comes out, it's like, oh wow, this is bad. This is bad stuff.
Do you ever do a conference edition? It seems like in every general conference, there's like 4 or 5 pivotal themes or talks. You know, I'm wondering if you have ever thought of doing that.
You know, I should. That would be good to do maybe this next conference. Last conference I took off. You know, in the ex-Mormon world, you tend to watch conference a little bit more intently than you did as a member. And I did that my first couple conferences in this, you know, in this area. And then I decided this last one, like, I'm just gonna watch people's recaps to see what's going on. I don't have time for it. But maybe this next one I'll pay a little bit closer attention and do some stuff.
I feel like there's a lot of comedy there, and you really could just pay attention to the memes that people are making, both in the post world and the faithful world, because sometimes those memes, they don't realize the comedy in it. Like I'm thinking, you know, could there be one of your songs on, you know, like the crushed water bottle when it came out? I can see that would be hilarious. You know, it seems like, or Think Celestial, it seems like there are little things in each conference, the little themes that you could just, you know.
Funny you should say that, because now that I think of it, I did do a thing on Nelson's Think Celestial.
Oh, you did?
But I did an original. So I made it up. Okay. I didn't parody anything. And I called it Think Telestial. So it was all about like Russell Nelson's talk and how he said think celestial and forget that. It's cooler to think telestial, and, you know, threw in pictures of coffee and tea and cigarettes and alcohol, and just tried to make it like it's way cooler to think telestial than it is to think celestial. So that's on my site if anyone wants to see that. I think it's just called Think Telestial.
Think Telestial. I love it.
That's
I can
a good
see
one.
like a general conference edition of Cultural Hall, right? Where
there you go.
Don't have to watch conference. Just go watch a couple.
Just listen to me.
You'll catch the entire. Oh, that's great. So how can people find you? We'll put, of course, links in the show notes too, but I mean, in general, just go to TikTok, or how can people find you in your content?
Sure. Yeah. If you want to see the stuff, like the videos and stuff we posted on here tonight, TikTok's the best spot. So I'm at Cultural Hall on TikTok. If you're over on Twitter, you can catch me at _ Culch, CULTCH, which is kind of Cultural Hall mixed together. So that's kind of my nickname, because Cultural Hall is kind of long to say. So people will say, hey, Culch. Sometimes they'll just say CH, you know, in the comments. So that works too. So those are my 2 primary spots I'm at. I don't know if there's other places I should be or not, but that's where I'm at, and that's where I'm comfortable at the moment.
Yeah, and I think your content gets passed around a lot because don't you agree, Landon? We see it everywhere. We see it over on Mormon Stories podcast. We see it in ex-Mormon Reddit. You come across it pretty much everywhere because something will resonate with someone and then they'll go, you've got to see this. I've had your content texted to me, by people like, you've got to watch this, so
Wow.
it's definitely getting
That's
around
cool to
for
hear.
sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, it is. You're out there. You're up and coming, or
Nice.
probably already up, right?
I like it. I get people who will find my stuff and they'll be like, wow, this is so great. Best Exmo content.
Yep.
I can't believe you don't have more followers. And the humble part of me is like, it's not that good.
Yeah.
And then the other part of me is like, you're right. I should have more followers. I should have a lot more followers.
That's right.
I think I'm almost at 4,000 on TikTok, which I'm happy with. That's cool.
No, that's really good. I think, Landon, that we should nominate him for a Brody, don't you think?
Yeah,
I think maybe we should put have you been nominated?
I've been nominated. I just found out I was in a live on TikTok and someone's like, hey man, congratulations.
And you're like, what?
On what? He goes, oh, you got nominated for Brody for like best TikToker.
Yeah.
But it's me. And then it's Julia from Analyzing Mormonism. And then there's this girl named Jessie that I'm mutuals with on Twitter. Post Mormone is hers. She's really good. She's a funny one. She does really smart humor. Good stuff. So it's like two really good people, and then there's me. So I'm just happy to be nominated because I'm not going to win it.
Yeah, the Brodies are tough because how do you even decide? But the Brodies are great because, and for those of you that don't know what this is, it's a Fawn Brody Award, and there's so many different categories, and they're different every year because you can just like make up your own category to nominate somebody, and it just gives you the flavor of all these amazing content creators out there. So I like to even just read through, like you said, the nominations and go, oh, I haven't really checked that person out, and let me look at them. So whether you win or not, it's an honor just to be nominated.
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
cool.
Great because everybody gets to see what everybody's doing and check it out. So can you give us a preview of anything that's on the horizon, or is that you're just going to wake up tomorrow and who knows what will have happened, and tomorrow afternoon we will find out?
I'm trying to think. This week has been crazy with work stuff. So I've been a little swamped and unable to work on a lot of content, but I have a notes folder on my phone that literally has like 80 ideas of stuff. So I've got plenty of stuff in the pipeline. I just need some time to do it. So I'll be back pretty soon with new content.
Yeah, and that's awesome because I can see that, you have things on the back burner that are timeless, and then you have your current events that could hit any moment, anytime, and you've got to hit those. That's kind of how it is in podcasting too. We have concepts and ideas on the back burner, but then do we have time for them? No, because Tim Ballard keeps doing stuff.
Yeah, you got to talk about it when things come up.
You have to talk about it. That's right. Oh, well, this has just been great. Landon, do you have any further questions for our wonderful guest today?
Any further light knowledge for me? Any
further light knowledge from Rob? That's right.
I was just going to say, when we started Mormonish podcast, our tagline is finding joy on the other side of Mormonism, and you are exactly the kind of guest that we were looking for. Somebody
thanks,
who
man.
just makes it fun and that you can laugh at what you've been through rather than marrow in it and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, no, there's happiness on the other side. Turn around, look back, laugh at where we've been.
Yeah.
And your content has just done that. This has actually been one of the funnest podcasts I've done. You just really do great work. Really.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm going for. I get that there's a time to be serious, and there's a lot of things to be serious about when you're in this community. But I tend to, I don't know, the stuff I like to put out, I like to have more levity and just hope that people smile and have a good time with it. That's really what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and I think you've accomplished it. And like Landon said, we're not making light of any pain or any trauma people have had.
Of course not. No, that's all valid.
And that's all completely valid. But then there's such a need for this kind of cathartic healing. And for some people, it's really important to be able to look and to laugh and to look back. And so I think it's wonderful. It checks all the boxes, which is perfect.
Yes.
Well, please, everybody, go over to Twitter and TikTok right now. Look up Rob, aka Cultural Hall, Culch, cool enough to just be CH, Like, that is cool.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, no, we have not hit being cool enough to be MP, right? Mormonish Podcast. Nobody calls us that at all. So we have not hit that level yet. So however you have to do it, go find Rob. We're going to put all of his contact information in the show notes, and some links and everything, and go and just amuse yourself and laugh and just have a great day. Have a great time. It's going to be wonderful. So thank you so much, Rob. Thank you, Landon, for being my co-host. And everybody, please like and subscribe to Mormonish. And if you'd like to be made aware of when new episodes come out, you can hit that notification bell and you'll get a notice when there's a new episode. If you would like to financially support Mormonish, we have links in our show notes to how you can help fund us financially through PayPal or for Venmo. And we certainly appreciate all of you that do. We really, really appreciate everything that you do for Mormonish. And thank you again, guys. That was really, really fun. Keep laughing, everybody. Yeah. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Mormonish. We really appreciate our listeners and would love to hear from you if you have a story you'd like to share. You can email us at mormonishpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and on our website, mormonishpodcast.org. And don't forget to look for us on YouTube and like and subscribe. Keep joyful, everybody.